I am Lamont at Large. I am inside the Abbey Mausoleum here in the grounds of the Forest Hill Cemetery in Kansas City, Missouri. I am here to visit the crypt of Robert Greenlease Jr. So this is where Robert Greenlease Jr. is interred. His father is above him, Robert Greenlease Sr., and his mother, Virginia Greenlease, above. So on September 28, 1953, Robert Greenlease Jr. was at school. He went to a private Catholic school here in Kansas City. And a woman by the name of Bonnie Emily Brown Hetty came into the school to pick Robert up, informing the nun of the school that his mother had a heart attack and that she was going to pick him up. It was a family emergency. So the little boy went with Bonnie, and Bonnie took him to go meet a man by the name of Carl Austin Hall. But it was all a lie. This was not a family emergency. Robert's mother was fine. This was a kidnapping. There was a plan by Carl for many years to do this very act. He had went to school with little Robert's older adopted brother, and he knew they were very, very wealthy. Robert's dad, Robert Sr., he owned a bunch of Cadillac dealerships all over the Great Plains, all the way from South Dakota down to Texas. He was a multi-millionaire. At the time, he was worth about $25 million, which in today's dollar would be in the hundreds of millions. So they took the boy, but there was no plan to just hold him for ransom and just make a bunch of money. Carl took Robert to a fielded area and tried to strangle him with a rope, but the rope was too short. He couldn't do it, so he pulled out a revolver and shot him once. The gun jammed. He fixed the gun, cocked it back, and fired once, striking Robert in the back of the head, killing him instantly. And then Carl and Bonnie, they call the police. They say they have Robert and they're holding him for ransom. They want $600,000. The police contact Robert Sr. He's very distraught. The FBI gets involved and they tell him to not pay the ransom, which is how usually all kidnappings go. They tell him, do not pay the ransom, because basically if you do pay the ransom, you make kidnapping a lucrative crime. But he went against the wishes and he paid the $600,000. So Carl and Bonnie, they somehow got the money through different channels. They fled. Come to find out later on, they go across the state. They end up in St. Louis. Carl ditches Bonnie at some rented motel and goes off with these other drug-addicted losers. He gets one of the women to go out to California with a letter he wrote to mail it to a police station to make it seem like he's in California when he's actually in the Midwest. But the woman, when she sees how much money he has, she has second thoughts. She stole some of the money. She fled, and his story, his ruse didn't work. Bonnie ended up getting captured, as well as Carl. So they both go on trial for kidnapping and first-degree murder, and they're both sentenced to death. And back in those days, when you got sentenced to death, there wasn't any 25, 30-year wait. There was no appeals. You just went straight to the death chamber. So they were executed on December 18th, 1953. They were both executed together in the gas chamber in Missouri. $280,000 of the money was found, but the remaining 300 some odd thousand was never recovered. There's various stories on what happened to the money. Some say some mafiosi got their hands on it and that was it. But at the time of this kidnapping, this was all over the newspapers, all over the country. This kidnapping was almost as famous as the Lindbergh baby case. Little Robert was a very trusting boy that a lot of people would say, like, when he just went with Bonnie, like he just went with her like he was really his aunt. It was very, very horrible murder, to say the least. I'm Lamont at Large. Thank you for watching my quick video about this little boy's terrible murder. Peace out.